Hello, my name is Corrine. I'm the director of U Academy of Advanced Hypnotherapy, and I have the privilege right now to be able to talk to Angie Martin. She is a clinical hypnotherapist. Anyway, Angie, we're going to talk a little bit, a couple of things. One, where you got your training, because we know that you got your training at U Academy, and what your private practice is like. So when you were going through U Academy, when did you graduate U Academy? Anyway, we'll start with that.
I graduated around May of last year.
Awesome. So one of the questions I like to ask is, do you think that the training prepared you for a private practice, if in fact that was what you wanted to do?
Yeah, I do. I know that doing the different sessions with my partner in class and online really helped me, but there is nothing like actually going out and doing it to see the difference, because these people don't actually have that same education and background. So to be able to show them and explain to them what you're going to do and how it works is pretty interesting the first few times you do it, because you're very concerned about giving them all the information and they really don't need
it. And that's so true. That is very true. And it's not that you don't need to know that information, but you don't need to give all that information to everyone.
Well, because different people need different parts.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's figuring out which person needs which part of that information. That's interesting.
Like, I know that we go through, work with Kappas, Dr. John Kappas. And so do you think that actually helps you to figure out whether they need that information or not need that information?
I think it does. And, I think so many people still believe that only really unintelligent people can be hypnotized. They don't actually realize that those really intelligent ones are actually the ones that are the smoothest and the easiest to hypnotize. So I have a lot of really intelligent clients. And so when they realize how quickly and easily they go into hypnosis, they're fairly surprised.
I know. I love that. Right?
Well,
so what was the one thing, if there was one thing, what's one thing about your hypnotherapy practice that you absolutely love?
Well, I keep saying this to my clients, and I always feel it's kind of funny. I'm like, I get paid to actually do this. And I said, and I think I get as much out of it as you do.
I know, right?
Which is so cool, because I really attract people who are going through or been through the same things that I have. And so it's interesting as you help them, to see that it actually is helping you as well.
Yeah.
I did I went to hypnotherapy before I became a hypnotherapist, but it's still interesting to me to see how much, when I'm helping somebody else, it actually is supporting me.
Absolutely.
Which is wild and such a side benefit.
Sure, yeah. So do you think that there's a pretty interesting, sorry about that. Do you think that there's an interesting personal development component in the actual course itself?
I really do. I'm starting to do more of the coaching, and which I did lots of when I did my own therapy. And I'm finding that even my clients that I have as cleaning clients are starting to ask me a lot of questions and looking for that same kind of support. So it's interesting to me how it starts to evolve and switch over back and forth between your practice and your private life and other people that you interact with. I'm getting more and more people coming up and just asking me simple questions.
That's pretty awesome. So another thing is there's a specific niche that you work with, or do you work with the general public?
I think I've worked with the general public. My own family won't get in my chair to save my life. Which is
I do understand that, actually.
I do still have some people who are very, very close to me that are still fearful of me putting information into their brains that I can control them. And when you take the time to actually explain to them that it's not possible, it's interesting to see them and the questions that evolve and have come from that. Even though you still haven't worked with them, their questions become more and more entailed, and they are asking more and more about what it is that I do, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that actually is cool. Curiosity is probably the cornerstone of hypnosis and actually life in general, is to be able to have that curiosity, to be able to be curious about why things work the way that they work. And those are probably going to be some of your best clients, or those people who are curious as to what would happen if they did A and could they get to B. And what we know about hypnosis is that it is all about empowerment. It is all about creating something different for that client so that trauma no longer runs them. So do you deal with a lot of people that are in trauma, or do you deal with more, like you said, life skills or life coaching kind of thing, or both?
I've been doing a lot of all of it. I've got a couple clients, like a family in particular, that they're in trauma. And so just helping them through that transition and letting them know that they have that power, that they are not powerless, nor are they alone. And then I have some people who are working through, they want to quit smoking. And it was interesting. The one young woman was very interesting to me because she wanted to quit smoking for everybody but herself.
Right.
And so we all know that that's an interesting scenario.
Sure. Not
But
usually
what I was able
effective.
to do was to give her permission, to give her back her control. And so she was able to make the decision for herself when she was ready, and not have everybody else being the controlling factor.
That's so
Um,
good.
and I've got another young woman who she's a really good friend of mine. I haven't seen her in years, and suddenly she contacted me, and she hasn't been able to take her medication because for various reasons. And we reduced her pain, and she's taking her medication, and she calls it that's Angie in my head whenever she does something that she knows she needs to do. And I'm like, no, I'm not.
Oh yeah.
That's you in your head. I just helped you look at it and see it for what it was. But yeah, she always is. She's like, oh, that's Angie. Oh, that's Angie. And I'm like, really isn't. But she gave me one of the greatest gifts that anybody could give me. And that's a referral.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. That is one of the greatest gifts that you can ever give someone, is a referral.
Yeah. And so,
Absolutely.
when you get your first referral, I think that that's a pretty big eye opener. Because you're like, okay, I've been out there talking to people, and, trying to attract the right people that I can help and actually do something for and support. And then all of a sudden you get somebody who says, hey, can I refer somebody to you?
Yeah, exactly. For sure.
And then you get that phone call from that person, and they're not even asking credentials. They're not asking for information. They've already got it from somebody else. They
Yeah,
just want to book an
absolutely.
appointment.
Yeah.
Right? And you're like,
Absolutely.
whoa, cool.
That's so good. So good. So is there anything that you would like to, if you were to talk to somebody today about whether a career in hypnotherapy was something that was worthwhile or not, what is it that you would say to them?
For me, this is something you and I've talked about a lot. For me, people always came to me anyway.
Yes, it
They
is.
were always asking me for advice and support. And I think for the first time, I actually feel like I have the knowledge to give them the support that they want. I mean, I can give you the worst advice in the world if you want me to, but I can actually help them to find the answers that they already had. They just didn't know they had them.
For sure.
And
Because that
so,
really is about what hypnosis is about. It's a common thread throughout all these different videos that we've been doing, is that hypnosis is about empowering people to make decisions for themselves, which is just an awesome thing.
if you're someone like me who's had that their entire life, where you've got people coming to you, they're asking for your advice, they're asking for your support, to be able to take something and learn it and feel like, wow, I'm actually doing something that is so much more beneficial than just the off the cuff advice that I was giving them before. It's pretty amazing. So for people in that position, I think that it's a pretty cool thing. Also, I think, more and more people are realizing there's a lot more out in this world than those traditional roles that we're all cast into. And so I know other people who are hypnotherapists, and they use it for something completely different. And
Yeah.
that's fabulous. right?
Yeah,
It
absolutely, for sure.
doesn't mean that you're doing a private practice. If it means you can support your family differently, or you can support your friends differently and use it in that venue. There's so many different ways that you can use something like this, and just make the world a better place, really.
Yeah, because that's really that's ultimately the goal, right? Is that we're going to make the world a better place.
Well, I mean, when we're better people, the world around us is better.
Yeah, no kidding.
Right?
Yeah.
It's just how it works.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Pretty exciting. So where can they get a hold of you? So you're in Chilliwack, right?
I am, yeah.
Okay, so you take private practice in Chilliwack. And also, do you do online or not?
I haven't done a lot online. I've done more online with other colleagues than I have with actual patients. Not that I'm opposed to it. I just haven't had that opportunity where I've had people who aren't local to me that have had interest to actually pursue and try hypnotherapy.
Okay, so how can they get a hold of you?
Best way to get hold of me is not my landline. We all know nobody answers that.
You have a landline?
Really? I know. Why?
You're like a dinosaur. Holy.
So I actually have, my cell phone is usually the best way to get hold of me, which is 604-819-0196. Typically that's your best way to get hold of me. I'm a pretty busy person, but I usually answer those right away.
There you go. That's awesome. Maybe they can text you too on your.
They can text me, phone me. Yeah, awesome. Absolutely. For those of us that like to have email, I do that as well. Whatever works for everybody is fine by me. Some of us are not the phone talkers. We prefer something a little easier to start with.
Do you have an email?
I do have an email address. It's Angie Martin. My daughter created it, so it could be fun for me to find it here. She made it simple. Look at that. Bless her.
Millennial.
It's Angie Martin, hypnotherapy@gmail.com.
There we go.
She made it real easy.
Really simple, for sure. Well, Angie, thank you so much for coming and talking to me and sharing what it is that you learned. And, good for you and your private practice. I know that that's been a big thing for you. And I'm just very excited, so excited that you're part of the community of U Academy. So thanks again. And
you're very welcome.
All right. Take care.